Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to carve out to learn a little bit more about recruitment as it pertains to our 2021 membership derby. This is the official recruitment training recording for that. My name is Reagan Van Cleve, and I am the membership director at the Coastal Virginia Building Industry Association. So going to go through today some best practices, some tips, tricks, and maybe a couple of stories that might help as you're, you know, about to go out and recruit for the upcoming membership drive and feel more comfortable doing so. So to start this off, I would like for you, wherever you're at, to write down one word that best describes the value you get from the association. So that's just one word that you feel is a good description of the value that you get from being a member of the Coastal Virginia Building Industry Association. And as you're writing that down, I just want to go over our drive structure for this year. So our official drive dates are April 22nd through the 23rd. However, we are doing a whole month-long membership drive, which means starting today, April 1st, every new member that you recruit does go towards that prize eligibility and the membership drive. And then on the close of business on April 23rd is when we look at all of those new members that were brought in and, decide the top recruiter and pick for prizes and stuff like that. For the purposes of April 22nd and 23rd, that is where our office will be available for people to come in and make phone calls. There'll be tons of fun with decorations and refreshments and a place for you to make phone calls with some of your fellow members and really heighten that excitement. So that is our actual drive days. As far as recruiter prizes, or as you can see up here, we call them jockey prizes. We're doing a prize ticket for each recruit. So every time you bring in a new member and they have paid and filled out an application, you then get a ticket where you can put that into one of the various fish bowls that have different prizes. Prizes are cash prizes, gift cards, different things that we'll have here in the office that you can choose to put your ticket in. Obviously, the more members you recruit, the more tickets you have, and therefore the better chance you have at winning one of those prizes. So in addition to that, we always are giving away some recognition in association publications and social media, as well as being the name tag sponsor of the next May member mingle. So we are doing member mingles every single month. And for the May member mingle, we'll put your company logo on each of the name tags of the people attending that. So to give you a little bit more exposure. And then for new members, in order to create that urgency to get them to join now instead of joining later, we are giving them a couple of things to encourage them to join. And that's going to be a complimentary ticket to the annual picnic. So that's a $35 to $50 value for them that they're getting. And it also gives them a chance to engage with the association. And we are giving them a spotlight on Facebook and the weekly updates, which is our association publication that is sent via email every single week. So plenty of great opportunities and reasons to join during the month of April. So kind of as a way of an agenda for today and looking at what makes recruitment successful, I wanted to talk about the recruitment life cycle. So the first part of the recruitment life cycle is the knowing your product. Before you talk to anyone about membership, it's important that you know your product. Consider this to be your association's value proposition or your secret sauce. What does it mean to be a member of the BIA, and how does the benefits and services the association offers help to either grow your business, save you time and money, and accomplish your goals? A part of being a good recruiter is being not only knowledgeable about all that membership has to offer, but believing in it as well. So once you have something to sell, it's a matter of knowing who to sell it to. There are many ways to identify prospects and generate lead lists using lapsed member list, home show attendee list, membership directories, and so on. One tip I think is important to remember here is just to always capitalize on opportunities to warm your leads. No one likes to cold call. So before you actually call them on drive day or whenever you plan on calling them, maybe consider having us send them a mailer or an email, or maybe you could send a text before you start with talking about the membership conversation. And then we will certainly be spending some time giving you some tips on helping to craft your pitch and what to do if and when a prospective member says no once you make the ask. Finally, it's important to understand that in order to grow, you must recruit and retain members, which is why as soon as a prospective member decides to join, getting them involved in their first few months of membership will be the key to their retention. So some of you might have seen this graph before, but I think it's an important preface to some of the content we'll be talking about today and just a general why are we deciding to drive in the first place? So if you look at this graph, it's mapping out membership growth of two different local home builders associations over a 10-year period. The red line at the bottom is a healthy HBA, but does not prioritize membership, nor do they host regular membership drives. And as you can see over a 10-year period, this line has very little movement. For the most part, membership holds steady. And the blue line on the top represents an HBA that runs a membership drive every single year. You can see that the HBA with membership drives is growing at a faster rate. Even though the lines are jagged, the membership number increases overall. They both started at about 430 members, and the blue line is now up over 1,000. They've doubled their membership. I don't think any of us like to see, though, a sudden drop in membership like some of those peaks and valleys indicate, right? That blue line looks a little unstable, even though it is technically increasing. So today we're going to talk about ways to minimize member churn. It's important to recruit the right people and having a retention plan in place from the beginning. So just remember the formula: recruitment plus retention equals growth. We cannot grow our association without keeping retention in mind as well. So value, everybody wants it, right? Remember this because our membership prices can appear high to some, right? That $700 or $800 that they're putting out annually might be a huge lift for some people. That's why it's important to remember the cost of something doesn't matter when the perceived value is high. Member value is the benefit your members receive from you. So we're going to talk about the association's value proposition, which is the promise to be delivered, communicated, and acknowledged. This also encompasses the prospect's understanding of how the value is going to be delivered and experienced on their end. We're also going to spend some time on what it means to be a member and what the value looks like for others. So what value are you promising to deliver when you talk to potential members? Why should they buy your membership and not one from a competitor or none at all, right? Your membership benefits should be articulated, communicated in a way for members and prospects so that they know exactly what their membership is giving them and making them fully appreciate what you provide. It's really important to be honest. I think a big misconception in our industry sometimes when we have, builders and associates as a part of our membership is that you tell people, when you join the association, you're going to get so much business and the checks are just going to be raining down on you. And then they're an unsatisfied member because that wasn't exactly what happened. So it's important to be honest with expectations. So maybe in saying you're going to get so much business is that you have the potential to have so much business because we have so many networking opportunities here. So it's important to understand who you're talking to. Obviously, value is in the ear of the beholder. So what's important to an associate member might not be the same for a builder member. So it's always important for you to kind of keep in mind the WIIFM, which is what's in it for me? What's in it for your prospective member? How can you communicate that to them? And once you find out what someone needs and then sell them the product that meets their needs, you want to talk to the prospect and ask them questions, not just give them a pitch. You want to listen to them, learn about their challenges and learn about their goals and get them talking. That's why interviews are so scary, or at least being on the other side of an interview is because they're the one in control of the conversation. They're the one asking all the questions. So you as a recruiter can be the same and kind of asking people questions and getting to know a little bit more about their business. And honestly, asking questions makes it look like you care. And people don't care about what you know unless you show them that you care. So some of the examples of questions that you might ask if this is the first time you're recruiting and need a little refresher is, simply what's happening in your business. I think, we've been through a lot the past year with the coronavirus pandemic. It might be just nice for someone to ask them how they're doing and how their business is holding up. If you're ever talking to a member who was once a member before and you're looking at them as a prospective member for them to come back to the association, you might want to ask them why they didn't choose to renew. You didn't get anything out of the association before. What were you hoping to get out of it? And maybe that's a good chance for you to match them with some of the things that the association is doing now, or some of the ways that we can help them with some of their challenges. A lot of the times people don't renew or didn't get anything out of it was because they didn't put anything into it. So how can you as an association recruiter and ambassador get them to feel more comfortable getting out of it what they want to? Ask them about their challenges and ask them about their goals. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? If they, are really looking for success, let them know that the association is on their side and can help them do that. So once you identify how the HBA can help them with that, you can then explain to them how we can help solve a problem or achieve their goals or even save them time and money. It's helpful if you can give an example of how the association has helped you with one of those things. And that's going to be a common theme throughout this is me talking about your personal story and your personal testament and how membership has helped you. A lot of the times people just want to hear what other people have to say. It really resonates with them differently than just, getting a membership spiel or having a staff member like myself reach out. So always, don't talk too much about yourself because the prospect is supposed to be the center of attention, but definitely use your story to create some leverage. And if you put time to have a membership conversation instead of a membership pitch, the results are going to be better for you. And I think this extra 10 minutes to talk through their business goals and challenges can help you find out if the HBA can really meet their needs. Rather than argue about the value, you're taking the time to build a rapport and demonstrate the value with meaningful questions and substance. Value is important. So, people will buy things or spend money on things that they think have value. The price of something doesn't matter when the perceived value is high. I spent $550 on a hair dryer because I saw the value of it as being able to, dry and curl my hair quickly. And that way I'm able to get to work on time and not have to spend too much time getting ready. To me, that amount of money was worth the value I was getting from that product. So you have to show them the value that they're getting. And if you go the arm twisting route, kind of that forcing them to be a member and kind of strong arming them, you can't guarantee that they'll be back year after year. And that will impact us, our ability to retain members. So really the focus for this year is, of course, to bring people into the fold, but bringing the right people into the fold, people that we can continue to provide value to, people that we're able to retain. It doesn't mean so much if someone, walks in the front door and two people walk out the back because we never showed them the attention that they needed. And this is especially important given that many of us are in a time of uncertainty with the economy and global health pandemic. You really want to emphasize the way the association has been in the shelter during the storm and the difference that it may have made to a member. Your story, again, and about how the association had your back over the last year will really resonate with them. Provide substantial benefits and services that the HBA offered throughout the pandemic while other businesses close their doors, and use these examples to differentiate our membership from that of competitors. And kind of going off that and kind of, going back to, the value is in the ear of the beholder. Here in building industry associations, we have two types of members, the builders and the associates. And what might speak to a builder member doesn't necessarily speak to an associate member. So the pandemic disproportionately affected associate members. Even though some construction was deemed essential, there might have been associate members who really took a hit to their business. And so it's important that you're sensitive to that and that you're not, only talking about how construction was deemed an essential business, because that might not speak to some of our associate members. And of course, associates have different reasons for joining the association to begin with, right? They love the grow your business and the networking aspect. So when you're talking to them, those are the types of things you really, really want to emphasize. Whereas builders might be more concerned with the advocacy and making things happen for their business, or ways to save time and money because they're super busy and they don't have a lot of time to donate to the association. So what kind of resources and what kind of benefits do we have that's going to help them to save time or to make something happen for them? So really making sure, again, that you know your product and you know that all the association has to offer in all of the ways that the association grows people's business, saves them time, and saves them money well before you ever pick up the phone. So kind of switching gears a little bit, let's talk about prospecting and finding the good fit to ask someone to come and be a part of the association, right? And before we talk about this really interesting graphic you see here, I think one thing that is important is understanding that the most effective recruitment is the peer-to-peer ask, which is why here at CVBIA, we are reliant on our membership committee and our members to be our ambassadors and to be evangelical about it. And why is the peer-to-peer ask more effective? Well, let me just give you an example. When you're going out to buy something, whether it's a small purchase or a large purchase, what is the first thing that people do before they buy it? They read the reviews. They want to know what people thought who have already invested in it, already purchased it. What's their testimony? That's all we really care about. You can send as many advertisements to me as you want, but I really only want to see what everyone else has to say about it. And it's the same way with membership. The members here obviously are all dues paying members and have found value in the association. And so therefore, that peer-to-peer recruitment is just going to be more authentic. But also, when you're thinking about people you want to ask to be a part of the association, you want to consider your circle of influence. So that is what this image up here on the screen is. This is your circle of influence. And the smaller circle represents the people you have the most influence over. And then as you work outside of the circle, those are people you have the least influence over. So the further out you get, the colder the call will be because you don't have any influence over that person. And you're going to have to work just a little bit harder in order to get them to be a part of the association. So who do we have the most influence over? Obviously, friends and family, people who are close to us and have known us for a long time and, have developed that trust for us. I know for me, I tell my mom to do anything or purchase anything. She 100% believes me and my word is the gospel. So those are the types of people, again, if you have friends and family in the industry, getting them to see the value of the association will be pretty easy for you because they trust you. The people you work with, your associates and subcontractors, right? These are people who already trust you on jobs, and they would probably believe you if you said that being a member of CVBIA is a good fit for them. So that's another good, segment of people to look at for asking for membership. Joiners of other organizations. Now, this one's kind of interesting because a lot of the times we feel weird about asking people if they would be a part of another association since they're already spending so much time with another association and money, obviously. But what's interesting about joiners of other organizations is that a lot of times people are not often members of just one organization. If you're a member of one organization, you're a member to up to 5 to 6 organizations. And they're also twice as likely to join because they already believe in the association model. They already understand what it means to be a part of an association. So it's really just a matter of getting them to understand your benefits and services. And then lastly, accidents. And what's ironic is that a lot of recruitment happens here more than anywhere else. So accidents are like, you see a truck driving down the road with a construction label on it or a sign maybe in a construction site, and you decide that you're going to call on that person for membership. And that's not to say that they wouldn't join, right? It's just that you have no influence over them, so that's going to be a very cold call and it's going to be a hard sell to make. So certainly, don't be discouraged for going after that group of people. Just know that it might be a little harder of a reach. And then, of course, we have making the ask, and the image up here on the screen is Ask Jeeves, if anyone remembers that website that you would use to ask random questions to. So a few years back, ASAE, which is essentially like the Association of Associations and somewhere where we derive a lot of our research from, did a study on an individual's decision to join an association. And it was called, you guessed it, the decision to join. This research looked at the many reasons why a person actually decides not to join an association as well. There was one answer that just beat the others by a landslide. And I'm sure you guys are probably guessing, what could that be? I don't have time. I don't have money. And those are all common objections, don't get me wrong. But the number one reason why someone claimed they did not join an association was because they were never asked. Nobody ever asked them. And now, before you say, wait a minute, I hear you. And when I read about this the first time, I thought the same thing until I saw it firsthand. Last year, I worked with an association out of Ohio that had been struggling with membership growth for years and were honestly about to give up. In the planning process of their drive, they sent out a mailer with a brochure about what their association does, some of the benefits and services that it offers, to their full list of prospects that they were going after for their drive. And you wouldn't believe what happened. 1 week before their drive even started, no phone calls from recruiters had even made. The association received 5 completed applications with checks. This was so crazy to me. And I've heard many similar stories. And since I was there in Ohio, I decided I would call these people and ask, I'm just curious, we did was send you a mailer. What was the reason that you decided to join? Oh, I didn't know that you want to be a part of the association. I did want to be a part of it. I just didn't know that I could be a part of it. So when you sent it out saying that you would like me to join, I really was excited to do so. And I just hope that kind of emphasizes the importance of actually making the ask and letting you know that you want them to be a part of the association. A couple other tips I have here is just making sure that you're conscious, if this is a phone call, of what you might sound like, right? So being confident and smiling, not saying, I'm calling you because it's a membership drive and I'd like you to join the association, right? Be personal. Don't sound like a robot. Also making it easy to join, removing all the barriers. Like, if someone's having trouble with the application, staying on the line and helping them to fill out the application. I also think that's going to be really helpful for you to get them to actually pay, because we're all a little bit of procrastinators at times. A couple other things that I'll just gloss over here really quick is the 10 tips that I have when you're talking to prospects. Good recruitment is done by the right people asking the right prospects and sharing realistic and honest expectations. And most importantly, your first impression with a prospective member will set the tone for their entire membership. So these 10 tips on how to make that conversation easy and effortless will in turn help to secure them as a new member for your association. So just for one, and I know the graphic is a little funny, is to start with a smile, right? Your voice sounds brighter and more confident. People can tell you're smiling through the phone. I think a smile is kind of like a yawn. You see someone yawn and it makes you want to yawn. You see someone smile and it makes you want to smile. And when you're smiling and when you're happy, you're more receptive to what that person has to say. So just keeping that in mind. Knowing your audience, who are you calling? Would they be a builder or an associate member? What do you know about their business beforehand? Making sure that you do your homework, right? Everyone knows and wants to know what's in it for them. So having an idea of how membership will benefit their specific business before you make the call can actually help you to have a more meaningful conversation and address their interests. Leverage relationships, right? Mention during your outreach if you have ever met before, even if it's just a LinkedIn connection. I know that used to be creepy. I don't think it is anymore. And also name any current members they may already know. Such and such is a member of the organization, and I just saw them out at one of our member events the other day talking to some fellow members. Like maybe that could be you, right? So name dropping is a thing, and don't be afraid to use it. We've talked about this a lot, and that's knowing your product. You must be knowledgeable about the product you're selling, and you are going to have to anticipate questions someone might ask you about membership and be prepared to address them. And that's why everyone who I believe is viewing this recording will have all of that information in front of them, as well as a very lengthy recruitment guide. But more so, you definitely know that the association has networking, and you know that it has education, but be specific about it, because a lot of associations have networking and a lot of associations have education. What makes yours different? What are the names of the events and how many people come? This is the type of information that's really important for a recruiter to know, because it makes the story that much more impactful. And personal testimony, right? You're recruiting for a reason. You believe in your HBA and you value the membership. So why is that? You want to have a concise story that you can share with the prospect that shows how you and or your business have positively benefited as a result of your membership. Is there a specific event that connected you to a critical new contact? How has the association helped you? And don't be afraid to share your passion. As I always say, facts tell, stories sell. But facts are good too. Share evidence of the value of membership. Include numbers in your pitch to substantiate the ROI you're talking about during the membership conversation. So like, by example, members are saving over $1,400 a year by using our member rebate program. Or, the National Association of Home Builders saves the average member around $6,100 per housing start. Those things tend to resonate with people. Also, right, we talked about this, listen. It's important to listen and have a conversation. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Act accordingly. People love to talk, and when you listen, it shows that you care. Like I said before, that's something that's very important to do. Kind of like caring is, of course, being sensitive. Everyone has their unique story and brings something different to the table. The recent coronavirus pandemic has implications to many of us, and not all of them are apparent. We, don't want to make any assumptions, and we want to be sensitive to the fact that this individual may have experienced something recently that impacts their ability to join. You only have one chance to make a first impression, so just keep that in mind. Of course, pay now. You want to hashtag ABC, always be closing. You're not a member until you're a paid member. So make sure you're collecting payment either over the phone or getting them to fill out an application online or send a check right away, because people, again, they'll tend to procrastinate. You don't want to leave that opportunity for the sale to be delayed or the ball to be dropped. Next steps. This one's super important. People want to know what comes next. After they join, tell them exactly what to do, whether that's just to visit the HBA website or register for the next event. Email one of the association staffers or meet you for coffee. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there as well. The most important thing for them, what is that going to be in the next 30, 60, 90 days? Be sure to spot the first opportunity they can engage with the association. And remember that this is going to be their key to retention as well. So now that you have a grasp on how to make the ask, let's talk about what happens if and when someone says no, and their objection is based on a misunderstanding of value or an incorrect perception. And you don't want to bully people into membership, but we do want to make sure we don't hang up too soon. And that's where overcoming the no or getting to yes, overcoming those objections come in. And look, I know that making the ask can be intimidating, especially when you know that there could be a no at the end of it. The truth is, we'll all hear a no or 2 or 5, and that's okay. Just don't dwell on it. Don't waste time on the line with someone if you don't feel like they're going to join right now. Also, a little pro tip, maybe use their anticipated objection and your story of why you're a member of the association. So I'm a member of the association because I don't have time and the association saves me time. And that's why I'm a member, right? So I won't role play these objections for you. There is a list that will be sent to you that includes the 10 most common objections and also some canned responses. So do please check that out, but just always keep in mind those, kind of back to basics of why people join, to save them time. So if someone says they don't have time, that's really your opportunity to tell them about why being a member is going to save them time. Or if somebody is complaining about the fact that money's tight right now, what opportunities do we have here at CVBIA that's going to allow them to maybe put some money back into their pocket. Keeping those things in and having that conversation ready and maybe a little bit planned out. But again, those responses are available for you in your recruitment guide. Finally, it's important to know that in order to grow, you must recruit and retain members. I cannot say this enough. I love membership drives, but I honestly feel like recruitment gets a lot of the glory, but retention is that unsung hero of membership growth. So thinking about ways as we are recruiting, how we could pepper in some good retention practices. So not that we could just have them as a member for 1 year, but many years to come. So we already are doing a lot of really great things with retention. But for example, we might be welcoming in more members this month than we're used to. So really thinking of ways that we thank them for their dues investment and welcome them to the community is important. Again, painting out those next steps so that they can get involved right away. Just want to make sure that we're onboarding them, we're communicating with them a lot, and we're not just getting them to give us their payment and then never talking to them again, because that's not going to be good for retention whatsoever. We know that the engaged member is the one that renews. So we'll want to get the new member involved right away so that they can start making the most of their membership. So really consider, what your line is going to be when someone does say yes to membership. What are you going to tell them to do? How can you make them feel like their dues investment is appreciated? Whether it be meeting them for coffee or giving them some more information on ways for them to get involved. And then finally, unfortunately, since this is a recording, I can't hear what your word is. But I just want to say that although you might not think your why matters to others, it does. A great association ambassador uses their personal testimony to increase authenticity that helps others see the value of membership. Remember, people don't join organizations, they join people. So as these words are kind of coming back into the fold and you're looking at them again, I just want you to think about someone you may know or interact with who could benefit from this word during this trying and uncertain time we're living in. If your word is networking, right? Do you know someone who could benefit from networking? Pick up the phone and call them. If your voice or if your word is maybe, a voice, can you think of someone who would benefit from having a voice on their behalf? And just pick up the phone and call them. So thank you all so much for tuning in today and kind of agreeing to participating in the upcoming drive. Although it might not seem like the road ahead is very easy, just remember that smooth seas never made for a skillful sailor. Okay. And keep in mind these next steps that we have going for you guys, which is to making sure you're putting your prospect list together. You're warming those leads, right? Having me send a mailer or you sending a text or they're, an email, letting them know. The first time you pick up the phone and call them should not be the first time they're hearing from you. Another thing is to make sure that you're reviewing all of the association benefits and services and letting us know if you have any questions, because you may get asked, in fact, you will get asked about the benefits. So it's important that it at least sounds like you know what you're talking about. And then show up. I can't wait to see everybody here on Drive Day, April 22nd and 23rd. It's going to be so much fun. I know everyone will do so great. And last but not least is keep calm and race on. So let's kill this membership drive. I know that we can do it. It's going to be a real experience, but again, I think that everyone in this group will be able to meet and reach their goals and even exceed their goals. So please contact me if you have any questions, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this.